One shot, two shots, I'm drunk, who's not? I just wanna make you feel alive. One drink, two drinks, bottoms up, don't think. I just wanna lose myself tonight.
Equipment, and this is gonna be a workout, I'm telling you. I just bought 6 more chains, some more binders, some more straps. What I want to do right now is I want to have the bare minimum right now to get me back up to Ohio, where that Mighty Products place is. They have everything dirt cheap there. I want to buy my tarps there, maybe some more binders, stuff like that. So I have a total of 10 chains, 10 binders. Where are you going, fella? The cheater bar, 18 straps, 18 4-inch straps, a bunch of 2-inch ratchet straps. So I should be okay, but it's 82 degrees here already, maybe 85 here in Dallas. So it's gonna be a workout, just getting everything set up. Hopefully I can get a load out tomorrow morning. So we'll see. All right, so I get here to pick up my trailer, and nobody's even here. Nobody's in the office. Apparently their internet went down, and they all went home. So, yeah, the internet went down, and so they went home, and they're doing everything from their house. But that's fine, because I was planning on not leaving out till tomorrow anyway with the trailer. They're going to be here first thing in the morning to, you know, get the paperwork and everything filled out that I need. And so I can get my registration papers and all that good fun stuff for the trailer. While I'm sitting here at the yard, I will just transfer all of my stuff that I just bought over into the trailer. And yes, I do have ramps. That is a big, big plus. I got 2 pairs of ramps, so technically just 1 ramp, or 1 set of ramps. Which is kind of a bummer. I was hoping I'd have 3 pairs, so that way I could utilize, you know, the 4 ramps down there, you know, like I'm loading cars on, or trucks or whatever, onto the deck, while at the same time, if I have a truck or something up on the step, you know, it's gonna need to rest on the ramps. So, you know, it's gonna make it a little more complicated, I guess, because once I put something up on the step, I'm not gonna be able to load anything else from, you know, from the back. So that's gonna make it a little interesting. Maybe I'll buy another pair of ramps. We'll see. I still got a lot more stuff I gotta buy yet. But I got enough to get me out of here. I got 10 binders, 10 chains, a bunch of ratchet straps, 2-inch ratchet straps, 18 4-inch straps, 20 edge protectors, like 100 bungees. I don't have a tarp yet, though. I need to get the tarp. I don't have my headache rack yet, which that's not necessarily a necessity. And I don't have pipe stakes yet, but I will get those as soon as I can. My goal is to get up to that Mighty place in Ohio and get some there, or get what I need there, especially the tarps. So yeah, that's the trailer right there. We'll come out here and take a little better look at her. I mean, it's not a great shot. It's between 2 trailers right now, so it's hard to really get a good look at it. But yeah. Looks pretty solid. Looks pretty solid. I saw just a small little chunk of wood up there on the side. Looks like something went through it, but not a big deal, I wouldn't reckon. It's not a low pro. It's got the 22.5 tires. So it's a few inches higher than a low pro, which isn't the end of the world. I would have rather had a low pro, but got a little bit of damage right there. Looks like somebody, you know, anything could have happened there. Got the mounts for the ramps. Trailer 468. This is a Dorsey. Yeah. It's not bad. It's a nice trailer. And then tight squeeze through here, but yeah. Yeah, see right here, there's a little piece of wood. Looks like it's what holds this chain in right here. Yeah. But it's fine. I would imagine that's fine. I don't see why it wouldn't be. Doesn't look like it compromises the integrity of anything. Could be wrong. If I am wrong, let me know. Got all my stuff in here that I just bought. Yep. I have a total of 10 chains, like I said, and 10 binders. These are all 5/16, grade 70. Got the edge protectors, got a couple more snap binders. I got the ratchet binders right there. I'm gonna go ahead and just put them all on the step deck and just kind of get it sorted out. See if there's room in the storage compartments of the step deck right now. I really want a headache rack. I need to get that soon so I have more storage. All right, so I got my first load. I booked it anyway. It picks up tomorrow morning. Multi-stop load, which I guess gotta get used to a lot of multi-stop loads when you do flatbed and step deck and stuff. That's all right though. I mean, it's easy to get off. So yeah, we're gonna be doing some crates of steel. Gonna be a heavy load, but it'll break me in. They say that it doesn't need tarped, so I just really hope that they're I just really hope that they are right about that. So yeah, we'll go ahead and see when we get there, I guess. Now I did, somebody here was actually didn't need their tarps, and they gave me 2 steel tarps, one 4-foot and one 6-foot drop tarp. So I got those on the truck right now, and they have I guess one of them has like some little tiny pinholes in it, or some holes in it, and he said that when you overlap them, it eliminates those holes. So I'll still get some new tarps, but those should suffice for right now. So yeah, I'm picking that load up tomorrow morning. How's it going, everybody out there in YouTube land? All right, I've been hearing a lot about the whole RVT, you know, paying to, you know, get help from somebody, paying for a mentor, things like that. And here's my opinion on it from right now. I can basically say firsthand experience. I didn't pay anybody, but firsthand experience on how to make a huge switch to an entirely different niche of trucking without paying somebody for help. And that's exactly what I did. And I'm on my first load as a flatbed or as a step deck driver, but it's I've gotten a lot of help from a lot of people, and I never had to call somebody that didn't know what they were talking about. And there are some people out there that know what they're talking about, but the problem is that somebody like RVT has never pulled a flatbed, just like I had never pulled a flatbed. And 11 years ago I pulled a flatbed. You know, I was trained on a flatbed anyway, but I never went any further than that. I never drove solo pulling a flatbed. But you've got the people like RVT who pretend to know everything about it, who pretend to know. I mean, he doesn't say that he knows everything about flatbed in particular, but he gives advice to people that call him about, you know, what type of trucking to go into. And he'll say, oh, well, you might be better suited for flatbed, or you might be better suited for dry van, or you might be better suited for this or for that. And it's just not, it doesn't work that way. I mean, you can't take advice from somebody who's never done it, in my opinion. You just can't, especially if you're paying for that advice. It's foolish, in my opinion. I'm not going to say that there aren't people out there that aren't worth paying, because there are people out there that are very knowledgeable in a lot of facets of trucking. You know, I mean, like, there's been people that have talked about, you know, charging somebody, you know, for advice and being a mentor, and they actually know what they're doing. They've been out here for years. They have a lot more experience, and, you know, I don't want to say every facet of trucking, but they know their limitations. They know when to say, I don't know the answer to that. You know, they know not to give a false answer. They know if they haven't done bulk tanker, they're not going to give advice on pulling a bulk tanker. They will direct them to somebody who has done that, you know. And you know, like, one of those guys that has talked about that is Make Sense Trucking. You know, Sammy, things like that. You know, he's been out here for a long time. He's been an owner-operator for a long time. He's had his own authority for a while. You know, somebody like that might be worthwhile, but he also understands his limitations. Now, on to the whole point that I'm getting at here. You know, the best way to get information from somebody when you're getting into something new out here is just to spark a conversation and start picking somebody's brains about what they do, about how they do it. And one prime example of that, before I actually started pulling the step deck, I'd already reserved my step deck, but, you know, I was learning. I was doing a lot of research on it. I still am doing a lot of research on it. And I was in Rapid City, South Dakota, just walking around the truck stop outside. I was going for one of my daily walks, you know, and I ran into a car hauler by the name of Roger, who's had his own numbers, car hauler guy. And but before he pulled car hauler, he pulled a step deck for 14 years. And we talked, and you know, I was able to, you know, we were standing outside of his truck talking for a while. And, you know, that Flying J up there, they have that casino. And, you know, so I was like, you know what, you know, how about we go inside and I'll buy you a beer? And, you know, we'll talk. And he goes, hell, man, we'll go inside, I'll buy you a beer. And I'm like, I'm getting the information from you. I want to buy you. He's like, oh, don't worry about it, man. I'll buy you a beer. So we went in there, and, you know, he bought me a beer, and I picked his brain for quite a while. He gave me a lot of contacts, a lot of people to call, you know, specifically for step deck loads. And then the next morning we went to breakfast, and I got more information out of him. And it was, you know, that's the kind of help right there that we do out here on the road. That's the kind of help that actually is valuable, you know? Not paying somebody that's only been on the road for 2.5, 3 years and has only been in, you know, reefer and dry van for the most part, you know, that doesn't know anything about any of the specialty trailers, you know. But then I ran into something, I didn't run into him, but I started talking to somebody else who pulls step deck on a trucking forum on Facebook. It's one of the Freightliner Cascadia forums, and he sent me a friend message or a friend request because I put on there, I was telling them I was, you know, go on the step deck and asked if they had any pointers, any of the step deck, you know, pullers, if they had any pointers. And he sent me a friend request, and then we, you know, started talking on the phone, and he's given me so much valuable information about pulling a step deck. And, you know, on my very first load, I called him, well, on the load I'm on now, I called him, just, you know, I sent him pictures of the load, and I'm like, you know, look, here is this, you know, I mean, it was a pretty self-explanatory load, but my problem was, I mean, like, the whole load could have been tightened down with straps. But my problem was, being a step deck, you can't utilize all the winches like you can on a standard flatbed. Because, you know, you might have a winch between the wheel wells on the trailer, and you can't slide that winch, you know, past the wheel wells. The rails are separate, you know, so you've got, you know, it's not a fixed winch, but it's only got so much room that it can slide. And then the same goes behind the third wheel well, because I've got slidable axles. So the same can be said behind the third wheel well. There's only so much room to slide the winch, and I've got I have a total of 12 winches. I have 6 on each side. I've got 2 on the step. I've got 1 on each side on the step, so 2 on the step, and I've got like 4 that I can actually, is that right? No, I've got 3. How many do I have? I forget now. I've got several on, I've got like maybe 3 on each side that are in front of the axles that I can slide from the axle to the step. So, you know, then you've got the other winches that are around the wheel well area that you can't really do anything with except for whatever you put in that area. And I ran out of winches. I ran out of what I needed, you know, for all of the stuff. And, you know, now I had chains, but I wasn't sure if, you know, I honestly wasn't sure. I'm like, oh, should I use the chains on this or not, you know? But there was only, like, most of it was like skids of rubber, a heavy load, but there was some steel on there too. And so I was able to use the chains on the steel, and the steel had wooden crates on top of it. So I was able to tighten it down with the chains that way. That way I could free up, because those skids needed 2. They were long skids, and they needed 2 chains, or 2 straps or 2 chains, you know. So I would have had to, you know, have you know, used 2 winches. So this freed up 2 winches on the part of my trailer that slides the furthest. So, you know, but you know, so there was stuff like that I was able to get, you know, advice from, and made my first load a lot easier. It took me a while to secure it because I'm, like I said, I'm 100% new. Even dumb things, when you're, you know, dumb little things, when you're teaching yourself how to do something like a flatbed or step deck, you know, just putting the straps through the winches without them twisting, you know, is, I don't want to say hard, but it's kind of, you know, like if you do it, any flatbedder, I'm sure, you know, they can attest to this from the first time they ever did it. They'll put the strap into the winch, and then they'll pull it all the way through to, you know, get ready to tighten it, and then they'll realize there's a freaking twist in the strap. You know, but I learned how to get by that. That's not really a big deal. But, you know, just stupid little things like that really slows down your first load securement. But the point was, though, that I got help from people without paying for it. And I got help from people that had actual legitimate experience doing step deck and flatbed. If you want to pay somebody, but make sure that person has actual experience. It's, you know, I'm not in a place to give any kind of advice when it comes to this. I can give advice on dry van and reefer, but of course I wouldn't charge for it. But the thing is, the dry van and reefer, you know, it's all cut and dry. There's not really a whole lot of advice to give unless you're just a brand new driver and you don't know jack about trucking at all. But if you know anything about trucking, you know how to pull a reefer and a dry van down the road. There's not really much to it. But, you know, when it comes to moving over to a more specialized niche, like step deck, there's a much bigger learning curve. There's a lot more you got to figure out, and it helps to have a mentor. But make sure it's a mentor that you know he knows what he's talking about. It will not benefit you to pay somebody. Just because you're paying this person doesn't mean they know what they're doing. You know, just because they have a nice, big, pretty smile doesn't mean that they know what they're doing. It means they can sell you stuff. You know, that's what it means. It's the humble guys. It's the humble drivers that you want to take advice from, because they're not out there to gain from it. But that's just my opinion on all that. But again, my point is, I mean, like I said, because I'm not a company driver, I didn't have a company to teach me the ways of flatbed, you know. So I've done all of this research on my own, and I have gained connections with people that know what they're doing, that don't ask for money to give me the advice. All they do is tell me to pay it forward, you know, and I'll be more than glad to do that as soon as I am comfortable with it myself. Again, I don't want to give advice to people when I'm still, you know, extremely wet behind the ears. I was going to do it outside, but man, it got chilly here. I'm in Greenville, Illinois right now at the Loves. I deliver one of my stops tomorrow morning. But yeah, I'm just, you know, it's freezing outside right now. It was warm before, yesterday. Oh, goddamn. It was warm yesterday. Just had breakfast. Oh, anyway, it was warm yesterday. But, yeah, it's cold now. So, it is what it is. You know, it's been raining most of the day. It's not raining now, at least. But it's windy as hell. Let me see if I can get a little mirror shot here of my... I don't know if you can see that or not, but... that is a different view from what I'm used to. You know, for the umpteenth time, make sure that if you are going to pay somebody for advice on trucking, make sure that they have the knowledge to actually pay for it. Just because they're asking for money for it doesn't mean they actually have the knowledge. You know, there's a lot of scammers out there. So, you know, in any facet of life, and you've got to be careful. You've got to make sure, you know, like I said, I mean, makes sense. That's one guy that's actually worth paying, which I don't think he's even doing that, but he brought it up and thought about doing it. Because our time out here is money. It really, I mean, you know, it really is. And if you have too many people asking for help, then yeah, I mean, it can be kind of, you know, you are utilizing your time to benefit somebody else, you know, rather than yourself. And as a businessman, that's not how you run a successful business. But you know, you've got to know what you're talking about if you're going to charge for it. So anyways, guys, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to keep rambling. I'm going to drink some more coffee. You guys have a good one out there. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you later.